Step into the light where the wild ones roam, where the heart speaks loud, calling this place home. We break the rules, we paint the sky, ridiculously you, we were born to fly. Ooh, it's ridiculously you.
It is Julie May. Welcome to the Ridiculously You podcast. If you've been anywhere near the speaking or event world in the past, decade, you probably know who Dannella Burnett is. She is a genius on the stage and behind the curtain. She's the strategist and stage mom, the producer and the powerhouse. She's built a seven-figure business connecting experts to their audience through her brands like Encore, Elite Events, Speakers Need to Speak, and Icon Maker. She's helped, thousands of coaches and authors and entrepreneurs show up, stand out, and monetize their message. She's freaking great at monetize their message. There's so many people out there that have I want to speak and I want to make an impact and all these things. She helps you actually make money at it and is very strategic about it. Brilliant. But don't get it twisted. Dannella doesn't just put people on stages. She builds movements. She makes magic. She finds the win-win in every room she walks into. And it's kind of like she's one part Energizer Bunny, one part Drill Sergeant, and 100% hilarious. So, are you ready to get in and rock and roll with my very good friend, Dannella Burnett?
Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. And she's like, what are we going to talk about today? And I'm like, I'm asking you a question. We're going to see where it rolls. So that's what we're going to talk
I am
about.
so cool with that. Julie and I go back so far. We have fixed all the problems in the world. We've probably created a couple of them that we had to then fix in the world. And all things speaking, events, coaches, business, life, love, liberty, all the good stuff.
And the pursuit of happiness. Amen.
Yes.
All right, Dannella, we're going to get into this speaker world because both of us have, done so much within this world of speaking on stages, creating events, all of that kind of goodness. What made you even interested in being a speaker in the first place? Because that's where we start. What made you interested in even doing that?
No, I was not.
I was not. It's a good.
Very much 72% of the planet who would rather be in the coffin than delivering the eulogy. I had no desire to get out on the stage. I did have a desire to serve and just to go way back, but I'll bring it forward quickly. Found Julia Child when I was 9. Told my parents I wanted to be the next Julia Child. I just was enthralled. Figured it was about the food. I became a chef, culinary degree. But then I quickly discovered I didn't want to only stay in the kitchen and started working with events. So this goes back 40 years ago. Personal events, corporate events, nonprofit events that led to events with municipalities. I've done events from 25 to 250,000 people. But when I became an entrepreneur, a full-time entrepreneur in 2008, I did what a lot of entrepreneurs did. And that was I grew my business through networking and referrals. And it worked really well. I always loved to sample my catering, and sampling my catering, I would get more catering jobs and more event jobs. But, when you network, and that's the only way that you network, sometimes you go and you're like, I feel like I was supposed to meet somebody there, but they were on the other side of the room, or the phone rings, but you have no control over when it's going to ring. So we were growing a business, but not steady and not consistent. And I never knew when. And that's a really stressful way to try to grow your business or maintain a business. And we started doing more and more in the speaker space. And I had one of those kind of epiphany moments. I'm in the back right corner of the room because that's the side for the event producer. AV's on the back left. I'm on the back right. And I'm watching my speaker clients and realizing that they're not waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
And I call that controlling your cash flow from your calendar. And I had one of those moments and I'm like, oh, they're taking the stage and networking with everyone in the room. they're not missing them walking around the room. And it was just one of those moments where you can't unsee what you've now seen. And I'm like, I'm going to have to take the stage. And I attempted, not very well. I did not know how to breathe and speak at the same time. So minute 4, I was like all breathy and my lips were turning blue. Like that first, it was terrible. It was
That's
horrible.
a good skill, breathing and talking.
It was horrible, horrible, horrible. And I just pitched. Like I would speak at that, those networking events. I'd get my 10 minutes and it was just terrible. But I knew that this was what I needed to do because I'd seen the success. I'd seen that this is a much better way if you want to grow, if you want to get consistent clients, if you want to get out of whatever small box you're in, you want to get to that bigger box. And so I got some speaker training, coaching, and learned how to breathe and speak at the same time. And then confidence follows. And then, the rest is history. So that was 2016, 2017. And I've been speaking to grow my business since then.
Cool. So you've been speaking to grow your business since then, but tell people like what you do now, because you got training in how to speak. You started taking stages. How did that turn into you helping other people?
So this speaking, and I spoke about events because I had this experience as an event producer, and that's what I spoke about. And I was looking for event clients. And more of my event clients were speakers, and frequently they would have space for an outside speaker or a sponsor, or they'd be looking for an expert to bring to their own event. So I started developing my own little speaker directory so I would have answers for my event clients. Well, we were matching speakers to events, and they started coming back going, that was great. Can I have another? And for about 2 years, I was like, no. I work for the event host. Well, I am a good entrepreneur. And this is a clue. When people ask you the same question and ask for some level of support or service, or you start to become the go-to, it's a good idea to ask yourself, like, what is the problem they're looking to have solved? Can I solve it? And if so, how so? And that's how Speakers Need to Speak was born. We literally were responding to the speakers we were meeting. We realized that most speakers, experts, coaches don't have the time to develop client leads and speaking leads. They don't have time to find where are these speaking opportunities. So we started off just providing simple leads. I brought on data miners. I brought on team. We, scour databases and social media and my own resources and creating opportunities, finding opportunities, and then creating opportunities for speakers. And that's just evolved into our whole speaker agency, where we provide not only the stages for people to get onto, the assets that speakers need. It really has led to fully supporting speakers finding, monetizing, and growing their businesses through speaking. And then the other half of the business is the events. And so we produce 3-day events, 1-day events, summits, and master classes. So it's all in this speaking and coaching and event world, and I love it.
So this all sounds fabulous. It sounds like, oh my gosh, we decided to do this, and then everyone wanted it. And then now we have this big thriving business, which is how it goes. It was like a complete linear path, right? And all straight to success, correct?
Oh, of course. Yes.
That's exactly what I thought. So no, for realsies though, like, can you tell me a time? Because you're giggling because we've known each other a long time. Okay, so can you tell me about a time where you were like, why the fuck did I decide to do this? Everything is crumbling around me and I don't even know what to do. Tell me about that kind of a situation and how you got through it.
The little story I just told you, let me put some dates to that story, and I think you'll get an idea of where this is going. So End of 2019, we realized we can support speakers, and we put together a small little 3-month program. It went really well. So I have a 3-day event of my own in January of 2020 to launch Speakers Need to Speak. And we launch in January of 2020 with 14 speaker clients for us to put on stages. Now, let me remind everyone, in January of 2020, stages were all the stages you stepped on. It was all in-person events.
Yeah.
There was a big difference. You had stages and speaking, and you had PR and media. So TV, radio, podcasts, those were over here in PR and media. Stages were in-person events where you stepped onto the stage. In January of 2020, I made a commitment to 14 clients. I was going to get them on stages. Clearly, we all know what happened in March of 2020. But not only did this happen in my business, like all of a sudden, what the heck? But we also owned a tent and event rental company. So in 4 days, while my clients who are entrepreneurs and being a little bit more flexible, we're trying to figure out what's going to happen. My husband fielded $120,000 in cancellations. Every wedding, golf tournament, the college graduation, everywhere where we were putting out our rental equipment, tents and tables and so forth. So I was in a ball, literally in a ball in the corner of my office here. I texted my coach. There was foul language in my text. I'm not sure if this is a PG rated podcast or not.
You can do whatever you like to know.
It was not a PG rated text by any stretch of the imagination. And so she says, she calls me right back. She says, I need you to do a virtual event. And I'm like, I don't do virtual events. Like literally, I'm like, my talk is about in person. Like, reminder, you're my coach. I do in person. I do stages. She says, you need to do something virtual and you need to do it now. I did my very first virtual event on March 19th of 2020. It was ugly.
It's like 5 days after everything shut down.
Yep. In just a few days, I had 14 clients. So I reached out to 7 big names in the industry that I'm connected to, like Suzanne Evans, David Fagan, T.R. Garland, James Dentley, Molly Mahoney, Steve Olsher. There were 7 of them because I had 14 clients. And actually, I'm not going to say I invented the summit, but I had one of them on each day. And then I had 2 of my clients. I interviewed 3 people a day. I shared it by email. I shared the recordings in a Facebook group that I put together of everyone who registered. And I interviewed them all on the now and the next. What are they doing now? What are they looking to do next? Really interesting interviews. I went back and listened to them about a year ago. But it was very similar to what we do for summits today. I used it to just get out there and share. But here's the cool thing that happened as an entrepreneur. I didn't make any money on that summit. I didn't really understand why I was doing it, but I took action. And in that week, we also got a call to put tents out for coronavirus testing and treatment at the hospital. We then called every clinic within 200 miles. We put out an exorbitant number of tents. Some of those stayed out for over a year, completely saved that business and recouped all of that loss. And 2020 was my best year in the tent and event rental company. And we doubled our business in my company because we went virtual. We went virtual very quickly. And then we rolled with virtual as everyone else did. And we started realizing that speakers could speak here on Zoom as well and added that into our services.
What do you think was like a key point? You were on the ground, like curled in a ball of sadness and misery. And I know you talked to your coach, but like, what were some of the other things that helped you like get out of this state and being able to like actually lead something, because that's a big shift change. It's not just going from I think my world is crumbling to I think I'll act like a human today, because being in a leadership space on a summit, on a virtual event, that's a whole other level of energy. If we're talking about frequency, we're going from like, frequency of grief and sadness and despair, which is like at 30. If
Right.
death is 0, that's about 30. And then you're trying to get from 30 all the way to like joy and leadership and power, which is at like, 500. So tell me about like what helped you get from here to here as quickly as you did.
Well, I will say one thing that I do think is a trait that I have in crazy quantities. And most of the entrepreneurs that I know that have weathered some big storms and just keep coming out on top, it is resiliency. And the thing that is both amazing and literally sucks about resiliency is you don't get it just because you want it. You get it because you've been through some stuff. You get it because you've been through some stuff and you fought through some stuff and you realize that there is another side. Like I have 100% survived and thrived through every single one of my worst days so far. And so it builds that muscle of, I may not understand it today. I may not know exactly what's awesome on the other side, but I have a very, very high level of faith that there is awesomeness on the other side of even my worst day, because I've experienced that enough or something similar enough. Because the other choice is to stay sitting in the ball in the corner, and that's not going to get you any results as an entrepreneur. So the faster you can like acknowledge it, like I'm not Pollyanna, but like acknowledge this sucks. Like this is a challenge. This is hard. And what do I need to do to get out of this hard? Because I can stay in this hard, or here's my path out of this hard. So I think for me, as soon as I was given that task, like I was in that ball crying in the corner because I didn't know what to do next. But as soon as I got that, okay, I have the next thing to do. So I'm going to do that. And then I know the next thing will be there and the next thing will be there. And that's, delusional or not, has served me very, very well as an entrepreneur, because there have been ups and downs.
There are. Well, and I think that movement towards something is just so powerful. It's like, okay, now anytime you're in action, it's like I'm taking back control of this moment right now. I'm moving towards something. So I think that's a powerful thing to do. All right. Are you okay to get a little controversial with the next couple of questions?
Of course. Let's go.
Okay. What's your take on, there's a bunch of people in the field right now that are kind of like self-proclaimed experts. They watch one YouTube video and they're like, I am now the expert in whatever it is. I'm the expert in somatic healing because I watched this video yesterday that talked about how emotions are stored in the body. Now I'm going to speak on stage about it and sell you a course. Tell me your take on that.
So, I mean, I loved, when, I guess this is about 2 years ago when, AI really became more of a mainstream conversation, and obviously a very fast and evolving technology. But yeah, like 2 years ago, like I'm an AI expert. I've been an AI expert for decades. Like, okay, no, you haven't. Like, that's crazy. Here's what I think about experts. There's 3 ways that you're going to become an expert. You're going to become an expert because you like intentionally sought out getting information, like a practitioner, a lawyer, a dentist, a doctor, an accountant. Like you sought out getting an education, you get the education, you're now an expert. You're going to be an expert because you've actually been through something, gotten to the other side of it, and now you can share from that level of experience. And so you have an expertise that matches the experience you've been through. And then I think that there is a level of expertise through what I call engineering. And that's both. Like you were in something, you got an education, you sought support, you sought mentorship, and now you're an expert because you've both experienced something and you've been educated. And then there's just assholes who don't do any of those three things and only like read something or and so, buyer beware is what I have to say. Like when someone self proclaims that they're an expert, like don't be afraid to dig a little deeper, and really listen to, is somebody just sharing something that they've heard or they've watched or they've witnessed? And it's a challenge today with AI. AI is getting better and better about sounding legit and not sounding robotic. And, if somebody can memorize some good copy, they can really sound the part. But if you're thinking of investing in someone, if you're thinking of following someone in coaching or mentorship or getting support or services, like don't be afraid to poke a little bit and ask some questions because unfortunately, with great opportunity, it also brings out those who want to take advantage of other people. And, I don't know that our industry has more or less of them, but they definitely exist. And I think they should be like throttled, like hung up by their little pinky toes and, flogged in the town square. Like,
That's the solution.
yeah.
So the next question is, but we'll follow it with something positive. What do you feel like is broken in the speaker industry right now, and what are you doing about it?
So one of the things that I think is broken, and with Icon Maker, I'm a part owner with Tom Matson and Cheryl Plouffe, and one of the things that we've added into our high ticket offer is what we call risk reversal. Tom has taught this for years, but a risk reversal is where you share the responsibility of success with your clients. And I think that that's something that our industry doesn't often do. Often it's, I'm going to sell you this thing, but whether or not you get the benefits from it, whether or not you get the success from it, whether or not this comes easy for you or really serves you, like, poo on you. Like I'm just taking my money and I'm going. But Tom really clued me in on this risk reversal. So we have $100,000 offer, but we have people buy into the first stage, which is 12.5. And that they're committing to, we're committing to. We show them the entire $100,000 path, but they get to choose when they go on and when they make new investments. And it's based on them getting success. And that led to me adding a guarantee to my event services. When my events are to help people make money, we actually guarantee that they're going to make a certain amount of money, or I will do the event over again at my expense. And I think that that's something that I've really adopted and that is broken in our industry, that we have a lot of people who are just selling, but they're not serving. They say that they're serving, but when it comes down to really helping somebody go from where they're at to whatever that transformation is or next level they're looking for, they aren't as committed to their client's success as they are to the client being sold. And that's broken. And risk reversal isn't the only way that it can change, but I think it's a great way that we've added in some integrity. So I think its integrity is, we have a few issues in our industry as it relates to integrity.
Yeah. What's the best thing about helping speakers? Like the best thing about the speaking and event industry is?
For me, it's the fact that I'm not an expert in everything, but like when I elevate a speaker and they meet their next clients and they serve other people, like, Julie kind of riffed and made up her own bio on me, which was awesome. But in my regular bio, it says, tens of thousands of lives have been impacted, not by me, but by the speakers that then go out. So like the ripple effect that's possible, I think is what gets me going, that, you know, I don't have to be a relationship expert. I'm not a weight loss expert. I'm not a career change expert, but like the people that I work with are experts at these different topics, and just a whole lot of people get helped. You know, I don't think we get help through higher education anymore. I think that people get helped by connecting arm in arm with a coach, with a mentor, with a friend, with someone who's been through that experience and helping people get to the other side. And so I love being a part of that.
Are you ready for a quick lightning round?
Yes.
Okay. Craziest thing you've ever seen at an event?
Craziest thing I've ever seen in an event. This is disgusting, and I don't know why it came to my mind first, but I was managing and running an EDM concert many, many years ago, and I found a couple having sex in a porta potty.
Oh, a speaker who gives you chills every single time.
My God, there are so many of them. Who has given me chills lately? Come back to that one.
Okay, we're going to come back. A situation where you had to turn down a speaker. You don't have to tell us their name, but tell us why you turned them down.
I turned somebody down recently because they were an asshole. Like, they were mean to me, and I knew they were just going to be mean to everyone else. And I'm very, very fortunate I don't have to work with assholes.
That is so nice. Red flag in a speaker's pitch. You're hearing somebody's pitch and you're like, red flag.
When it's all about them, when it's just all about them and their accomplishments, and I don't hear anything about those they've served or why they serve. Like, there's got to be some impact in the world, even if it's just, be honest, I make a ton of money so that I can donate over here. Like, their business doesn't have to be about impact. It can be mainly about income. But if you're just a mean person, like, the stage will amplify that. So,
yeah, I think the stage is a big amplifier in general. Okay. A phrase you see in speaker bios that you're like, nobody should use that ever again. I'm sick of hearing it.
So nobody cares where you went to school. Nobody really cares about your books. Nobody really cares. Like, the word I should be stricken from your bio. Nobody really cares until they know how it relates to them. So think about your audience. Think about, you know, who your audience is, or a speaker that's looking to do paid speaking opportunities, and they make it all about the audience. The audience isn't writing the check, the entity is. So know your audience and speak to them.
Okay, we're going to go back to a speaker who gives you chills.
So we actually had our speaker media camp in California not that long ago. And I had a client who she just had finally an amazing breakthrough and brought me to tears with her expertise and those that she wants to serve. She is looking to save marriages here in the United States. And her messages dialed in, and it was clear, like, her own experience and how much she cares. And I was in tears by the time she was done speaking.
Love that. Love that. Okay. If you guys want to connect with Dannella, get your message out there, maybe even host an event and get a little assistance on that. By a little assistance, I mean, you know, figure out how to have $100,000 event, just something simple like that. Maybe you want to reach out.
That is our guarantee for a 3-day event.
I know. I had to throw it in there because I know. So if that's something you're looking to do, where can they find you?
So the easiest place to find me is we have a Facebook group called Speaker Gigs. Like just put in Speaker Gigs. You join our Facebook group. We connect all the time there. We host master classes and lots of opportunities to step in and get some knowledge and information. But you'll find me on all the social media channels. LinkedIn is probably the easiest one to connect. Dannella Burnett on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and through Speakers Need to Speak.
Fantastic. I'm in that Facebook group. It's a great Facebook group. I also know, Dannella, next year, like next October, you guys are doing like a speaker cruise in the Mediterranean. So if you guys are like, hey, I want to learn more about speaking and like doing it on a cruise sounds fabulous. That's another thing to connect with Dannella about. What's one thing you want people to walk away with today? Your final parting message.
So if you are not consistently making the money that you want to, or you're spending a lot of money in marketing, look at speaking. Speaking is, I think, one of the best forms of marketing, whether you're a 4-figure business owner to an 8-figure business owner, there is a place for you and a type of speaking that works for you. And it's not about being the best speaker. Speaking is not the goal. Speaking is the fuel for your entrepreneurial engine. So the purpose is to get in front of new people, to grow your community, to find your next clients, to find your collaborations. It's not about being the best speaker, but it is about being an effective speaker. And that comes from knowing who you are, knowing the goals that you have, and knowing the audience that you need to be in front of.
Dannella, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Thank you for being someone who doesn't just show up and give people the mic. You give them permission to show up as themselves. You show them how to do it with impact and income. And I appreciate everything you do to help spread amazing messages around the world. So with that, we are going to let you guys go. Come catch us next time. Follow us, subscribe, download these episodes, share this with your friends who have messages. And this has been Julie May and the Ridiculously You podcast. And we will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Share the spark, take it higher. Hit subscribe, bring a friend. Let the wildness never end. Tap in, stand true. This is your crew.